Is there a right answer? Well, let me recount some incorrect answers for you first. The exchange between Ananda's 7 posits of possible locations of the source and Buddha's rejection in each instance sheds light on the actual location of the source and insights about the source itself. When the Buddha asked Ananda, Ananda's immediate first answer is, the source is inside the body, he said with certainty. Well, the Buddha refuted. The Buddha said, well, if the mind were inside the body, you would be aware of the inside of your body so that you're actually able to perceive your internal organs, muscles, tissues. You can see all of that. You can hear all of that. You can touch all of that. Okay, I know, Ananda said. The answer must be, the source is outside the body. He's still quite sure this time. But again, the Buddha refuted. If the source were outside the body, that means you would be able to perceive your outer appearance, such as being able to see your own face. Oh, in that case, then Ananda came up with an answer nevertheless. He said, oh, I know. The source is in the sense faculty, the way that the eyes are behind eyeglasses. No. If the source was behind the eyes, when the source perceives scenes outside, it would also perceive one's own eyes. But you know that's not possible. You can't see your own eyes, just as if your eyes can see your glass rims, your glasses. With a little bit more hesitation. The source is where it meets light. Another refutation, of course. If the source was in the dark, then when you're in a dark room, your mind source would float throughout darkness, inside and outside the body, as if they were the same. Okay, now don't worry if you're not getting all of Ananda's answers, because they are the wrong answers. And hopefully what they do is get you to go, huh? What did he say? And in the huh, there your brain stops your typical conscious thinking for just a brief moment. And in that pause is actually where the source is, if I may give away the answer at this point. Okay, so Ananda now is not at all sure. He offers the next answer, which is the source is where it meets with objects. The Buddha explained, now if that's the case, it would mean that the source only exists in response to outer objects, especially when you presume that the mind's source, not being matter, would create a new form of object whenever it comes in contact with an outer object. Okay, Buddha, I'm really not sure now, Ananda said. But if I have to give another answer, okay, I would say the source is in the middle somewhere. Exactly. What does that mean? The Buddha refuted again. The middle seems like a random place. Is that inside or outside the body? Could be either. The Buddha refined his explanation too by saying that if the two ends of the so-called middle, quote unquote, are subject and object, such as the source and some other object, then would the mind be with the subject? Would the mind be with the object? Would the mind be with both object and subject? Would the mind source be neither subject nor object? The response to all 4 inquiries is no, since an affirmative to any of the 4 would mean that a middle cannot be established. Coming down to the wire now, Ananda, I'm sure at this point, is scratching his head, smart as he is. He comes up with the final answer. Well, Buddha, is it that the mind is nowhere attached? You talk about non-attachment all the time. No, That's not the case here. The Buddha then explained with a question. Does non-attachment exist? Since non-attachment exists, it cannot be negated. That which is not a negation contains certain characteristics. That which contains characteristics exists. Hence, the aware, knowing mind is not a negation. The source is not a negation.